All right, all right. It seems I'm able to properly transmit this. And I feel like I should check and actually see whether this is properly working. So, your channel. I'm currently live. See how this looks. It seems I'm able to properly transmit this. I feel like I should check. Actually see whether this is properly working. So, your channel. Alright, looks like it's gonna work. Okay, looks. Drop that down. Okay, time to get underway here. To the presumably 0 people who are going to be watching. But today, it's time to create a new character. Let me see. Did I actually delete my last character, my last casualty, if you will? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Okay. That means it's back in. All right, let's do this. Great character. I believe I had called this character Miranda. This is a direct remake. We're going veteran hardcore to start with. And in we go. I don't actually know if my streaming software shows me at all if there's anyone watching. I mean, I assume there is not, but I suppose we'll find out. Who knows? I wonder if I should have some kind of YouTube window open. A discovery process. It's all going to be happening here. Let me see. YouTube Studio, perhaps. I don't know if this would... Okay, so I am live, so no, not that apparently. Your channel, maybe, you never know. Yeah, so it just says that I am live. Who effing knows? Let's see here. Yeah, who knows? Who cares? All right. Anyway, mainly about seeing whether or not my internet properly supports this and all that sort of thing. It seems to be doing. All right. In we go. Another kick at the can. I do feel like this is going to be a pretty strong character. I got very good vibes from my last one. All right, let's get set up here and get moving. All right, so this is going to be my attack. This is going to be my move to. Pretty simple setup. Ooh, we are choppy. I must be taxing my system here, although looking across, I don't really see that. But man, the video is just fucking nightmarish. That's unplayable. Interesting. Okay, time to explore that a little bit. It's probably going to pop off and on again. We'll have to find out. I'm actually tempted to try something here. What if I go back to full screen? Because I think OBS might continue to be able to capture this. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, that's like significantly better. And it looks like OBS is having no problem capturing it still. So that's good. All right. I mean, it's not great, but it's good. My frame rate's probably down a little bit, something like that. Yeah, we'll go find Burial Hill. I am going to do one thing real quick, which is head into my settings here and check my in-game to show me my FPS. We'll go top left. 65. 60. Okay, well, yeah, okay, so it's supposed to be limited to 60 by the recording software. Maybe it's just doing it kind of roughly. Okay, anyway, it's always interesting talking to nobody, but I guess what I can do is just pretend I'm actually recording, which is going to work out. All right, so anyway, I'm going to head out here, early game. I do know exactly where I want to go here, so it's just going to be a quick jaunt out here. Fantastic, we actually got an item. Not guaranteed to happen, but we can, you know, here's the only downside. You go from like the only clothes that actually are fitted to your character's model, and then the moment you get out of that, you're dressed in a cloth bag basically, but that's fine. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take a little run down the road here because there's a specific setup that I want to grab right off the bat to make killing these early guys a lot easier. Ouch, stop it. We just have to run a little ways. I never really remember exactly which house it is, but this time we've actually done okay. All right. So we're going to pop outside. Enemies are infighting, which is nice. Kind of handy for me. Okay, and there we go. Nearly died, but we're good. Just don't want to stand in the acid because we don't have that single level on yet. So the moment that our mending potion goes down, we're fucked. Okay, got a little bit of jerky frame rate here. That's going to be fine, I guess. Okay, we've got our greatsword. Back to the beginning. Do some of those early zombo kills. Stop tempting fate by going over and fighting the nasty bugs. Alright, let's go. We're up and running. First level in... Okay, I mean, technically we're trying to be up and running here, but it's a little bit ugly. Fantastic. It would be genuinely outstanding if somebody did actually drop in and say hi, because then I could find out what my audio levels sound like and shit like that, but until then, whatever. Like I say, I'll just pretend I'm recording. There it is. Alright, it's time to start our single class journey here. Alright. We're going to take a little bit of cunning, and we're going to take necromancer. There we go. We're going to bump this out and immediately drop a couple points into reaping strike. All default weapons, nothing to change. We just have that now. Alright. It begins. No movement skills. No skills, actually. No nothing. This is actually a pretty skill limited build, at least. I think my last one I and pretty embarrassingly ripped it at level 37 or 38. So I didn't even really have anything on my skill bar. I had like Siphon Souls and a movement skill basically. Like Leap, which is my default go-to. But yeah, you don't need much. I mean, this is going to be armed attack. And I am going to go dual wield, but obviously because I'm doing a single class build, I don't want to jump into... Nightblade. Why am I carrying these around? I don't want to jump into Nightblade to actually get it, so I'll just be using a Bladesworn talisman to give myself the dual wield starting at level 25. So for the most of this beginning area here, it's going to be two-handed all the way, just so I get that nice bursty damage. And if I just get a little bit down the necromancer tree, it gets pretty straightforward here. There we go. And this is the other good thing about great weapons, is you can actually tap up a couple targets and stuff like that, so. easier going in the beginning to use great swords and stuff like that, I find anyway. So we're going to be bouncing between all three a little bit right at the beginning here. But I'm actually just going to pop more points into this just to get more stats, more health, all that jazz. So I don't immediately and instantaneously die, which is always embarrassing. I will say that doesn't happen to me too often, not this early on. Generally get rippy after I've started to make some real progress and I get cocky and kind of complacent and stop paying super amounts of attention. Sort of love the idea of this, just not knowing anything about streaming. I'm in a scenario where like I would have no idea, presumably, if somebody had actually stopped in to watch. There's probably OBS settings and stuff like that that I could use, but I don't care. Right now, I'm just kind of lazing. Oh, I actually need that. These early desperate days when I need a tonic of mending. Oh, a little bleed damage there. It'd be exciting if I was an occultist. It's like no dropped frames and all that, so presumably my interwebs are capable of streaming 60 FPS 1440, so that's pretty exciting. Ooh, a belt. Getting these big drops early. I'll be switching most of this stuff off real quick, but in the very earliest moments of starting out the character, I actually do want to pick up all the yellows. I do keep meaning to do like a pure ranged at some point, just because they've changed that pretty significantly, and now instead of needing specific skills to or specific weapons to get target penetration, it's actually attached to the skills now, which is pretty cool. So effectively, depending on the skills that you're using, basically it turns effectively all ranged weapons into penetrating weapons, so they go through enemies, which makes them pretty viable. None of that stuff is anything I need, but we'll just throw down more cunning. We just want to build a lot of physical damage right off the bat. Which kind of depends. We might do an attribute reset over to magic damage. I kind of have to look it up. This is one of the things I'm not 100% sure about right off the bat. But I think if you're doing vitality damage, you're probably going to want magic damage up instead. So, which I will be doing at some point. Okay, I'm just going to go to my second bar here. That's where I'm going to put all my auras and stuff like that. So we'll get our spectral binding up. It gives us a tiny bit of life at this stage and not much else. But spectral binding's obviously going to be a huge survivability buff down the road. Did I thought I went through here. I guess I must not have. Unless these guys were just kind of being quiet until I left. Just chilling, trying not to attract attention. I remember there was a great Penny Arcade one time, way back in the day when there's like one of the trillion zombie games that's come out. Was sort of new on the scene, but I can't remember the exact name. Well, I can't remember the name of it at all. I was going to say the exact name. I had no memory about much of it, but the gist of the zombie game was that you actually were going around taking pictures. So I think you were like a reporter at a mall during a zombie apocalypse. I can't remember what it was. I remember you could like pick up lawnmowers and shit and chop zombies to death. That was kind of its key thing, was the fact that you could make weapons out of like everything in the environment, which was kind of cool. But anyway, like I remember the Penny Arcade that was related to that was just it was basically a couple of zombies, and they're like sitting there like trying to hide while this dude's like rampaging around, like butchering all the zombies that are at the mall. And it was just the one zombie trying to make a break for it. And the other guy's like, no, man, you're crazy. And he's just like, I'm going to make a break for it. And then just like shuffles off because he's a fucking zombie. And he can only stagger along at this really slow pace. I just love that idea. It's like the conceit behind, what was that Will Smith movie based on a much older book, I think. You can tell my memory is just sharp as a tack. All right, let's rift gate this guy back. I am legend. That's what it was. And like the whole gist of that, in the book, it's actually it's vampires, and in the movie they kind of made it, you know, these diseased mutants or whatever. But it's kind of that idea that like the entire world has turned into these mutants. So ultimately, at that point, the human that's running around killing mutants is like the monster in the night, right? So it's like it sort of turns things around. And like I say in the book, it was originally like vampires. So he was the only one who wasn't a vampire at that point, right? So he was going around killing vampires, and they kind of made it. It was a little more on the nose in the book because, like in the movie, you know, the mutants are kind of really feral and sort of living in the dark and all that jazz. Well, obviously the vampires are nocturnal as well, so that creates like that difference between between him and them, right? That sort of makes them sort of this analogous bad guy that allows the story to develop for the big reveal. But at the same time, like, you know, they've sort of moved into homes and stuff. Like they live in houses, they have families, like all this stuff, and he's just wandering around trying to like cure vampirism and killing them and stuff like that. When realistically, all of society has just become vampires. It's a reasonable story. It's a more amusing story though when it's like zombies basically who are in that boat. Oh, there's a timely heal from a level up. Gotta love it. I'm just furiously flailing at these guys with my greatsword. Look at this early game tanking. Okay, I might have to use a potion of mending here. Nope. Had it, never a doubt in my mind. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep going with cutting right now because obviously this gives me bonus physical, bonus pierce. I'm not really doing any pierce, but I'm gonna keep stacking that for a little bit, and then obviously down the road some point, I'm just gonna stack this on just because of the added offensive ability as well. So you can see like basically this is just gonna give me a little more crit chance there. You've always got to have that crit chance 5% plus because otherwise it's less than D&D, and if my crit rate in D&D is anything to go by, you know, I don't even want to talk about it. Technically, I don't play D&D right now. I play Pathfinder, but got a character in Pathfinder that's a quote-unquote crit build, or at least on paper, but like with my dice rolling capabilities, that's pretty much an impossibility. Of course, I have like improved critical, you know, so, or, yeah, improved critical. So my threat range is doubled, and I'm using a heavy crossbow, so I'm, you know, threat range is like 17 to 20, 17 plus, I guess you call that. I never crit. It's just a complete impossibility. I defy science. I feel like I should be studied, you know, just that I'm able to break mathematical odds just with a casual flick of my dice rolling wrist. All right. This is always a bit of a hassle. See, there's that tankiness kicking in. Like, what's my base level here? 15% chance. All right. It's not great. It's not great, and I have a pretty low attack rate. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm intending to go with a dual wielding build. Just because I've got all of these, like, you know, proc on attack. This and necrotic edge. And so basically I'm just going to be trying to get those up in terms of proc rates a lot, because that's a huge amount of survivability and added damage. We're just trying to keep attacks on the main enemy here, because this inevitably is going to take me a while. So I just got to avoid getting pinned in there too aggressively, and kind of keep it so that I can deploy a potion when I need it, essentially. Because yeah, see, when I get those big like series of slaps to the noggin here, it could be bad. Oh, there we go. Replenishment to the old potions. All right, let's just go around this guy. Keep beating on them. This is why this is, well, it's not really one of the hardest, but it's like one of the most time-consuming boss fights you're ever going to have in the game is like this initial scenario. And I guess in terms of like difficulty, you can end up in situations like that where you're just in the gauntlet and you can't really get out. Like right now, actually, I'm contained here. Fortunately, I had my potion on cooldown, so we're good. Off cooldown, I should say. No worries there. Well, I mean worries, but, you know, I'm not getting killed. By the way, if anyone does accidentally stumble across this, you know, just do a public service and tell me, like, what's my audio like? Is my voice just incredibly loud? I mean, sound levels seem balanced to me, but I don't know what I'm doing at all, so you never know. Alright, there we go. Stunning, riveting gameplay. Alright, I'm going to grab everything at this point, but it's going to be no levels at all before we stop doing that, because it does get pretty annoying. Let's see. I can't imagine this would be better. It's giving me better DPS, but it's just not going to be better because I've got that lightning sphere chance. Does a little bit extra lightning. I don't know. This is interesting though. It actually doesn't do any physical damage. You know what? I might pack around that club for a while. Oh, this one here is just inherent. Well, oh, no, wait. I was about to say it's got that 7% health on it. So is the other one. This one, though, so cold and frostburn are totally irrelevant to me, and that gives me +1 energy regen per second. So we're going to take that. None of this stuff is going to be any good because two-handed weapon. All right. Let's pop this, and yes, I know there's a shrine up there. I'm gonna go get it. All right, ether crystal time. So I didn't immediately die, which is kind of inconvenient. Okay, we'll grab this. We'll grab this. My patience is already wearing thin with picking up useless items, so. Break the crystal. Go. Come here. Yes, this is catastrophically slow. Just bear with me. It'll happen. All right. Dig through the bones. See if anything cool drops. Nothing cool dropped. All right, let's offer that. Yeah, I don't need any of this. I mean, honestly, like, we obviously pretty much don't need that. We'll keep rares on for right now. So see, here's the thing, right? So using this weapon, I would imagine that what I really need to scale the damage is probably bonus magical damage, because that would be the lightning, right? And ultimately, well, yeah, I mean, fuck. Here's the thing, right? Let's just pop that in there. Let's try to work our physique up. Try to massage our physique up a little bit. And we'll maybe get this guy equipped. Because ultimately, even though we're looking at a scenario now where I'm not scaling damage, I should go to physique. Because it'll be a while before I have a couple of spectral swords that are doing vitality damage. And that's even if I want to go that route. So, we'll see. I mean, obviously, if you're just inflicting vitality damage, it has some good synergies with the rest of what you're doing as a necro, right? So, like this, for example, is vitality damage. So if you scale a bunch of that, it's going to be good. And then over here again as well, you're inflicting vitality decay. All of those things are going to be good. And obviously, this is what we're going to do. Like by the mid-30s, I was already up here. That's the huge bonus of single classing, is you could just rampage right up to your highest level abilities. And just tag a couple of these in. I'm going to pick up more of this though, because I want my proc rate to be higher. So there you go. 1 in 5 swings. That's maybe okay. Especially, well, see, this is the thing. I can't really dual wield until I go quite a bit higher up the tree. One of the things that I do want to get early though is I want to get this, because it scales vitality. which is, you know, a big part of the build. So we're going to go straight in for green because we're going to want to get this. And Twin Fangs, actually pretty good, you know, especially if you have a high attack rate, which I eventually will. I'll just be proccing it off of my my whatever the fuck it is, you know, the weapon thing that I'm doing. Let me poke around here for just one sec. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. I think I figured out a way that I could see. Hmm. Well, there probably actually is a way. So what if I do this? And then mute this. And then just kind of shrink this down. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can do that. All right, fantastic. So now I'm going to presumably be able to see if anyone actually drops in here, which, again, I strongly doubt, but you never know. Weirder stuff has happened. I guess you don't really stream on... Oh, hello. You don't really stream on YouTube if you actually are interested in anyone watching your streams. I've kind of noticed that. Like, I know some people do stream on here. It's like a couple of the, you know, Let's Players and whatnot that I follow. They actually stream on YouTube, but I just, you know, I don't really think that people watch much streaming on YouTube. I know I don't. Not for any particular reason, just because it's like, yeah, it's not really what I'm used to, right? Twitch is just kind of the thing. So obviously I should inherently stream on Twitch, but for some reason I ain't. All right, so you know what? It's early in the game, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm already going to go ahead and toggle the magic items off. I'm going to keep rares on. I'm going to toggle this so I don't forget it later, but I am going to also toggle rares off at a certain point. Just because we're getting there already. Let's see. Okay, this guy here wants us to kill a bunch of people. That's cool. Let's head into here. Quick chat with Buddy. There we go. He gives me... What does he give me? He gives me a skill point. I'll take it. We're happy with all this. We're just gonna... Now we're gonna drive forward until we can get Necrotic Edge. Necrotic Edge is pretty useful because, once again, it procs off all my melee attacks. And it gives me an arc attack, right? So it hits multiple targets. That's kind of the first way that I'm going to really be targeting multiples, which, you know, will help to mitigate how incredibly slow and plodding this whole scenario is right now. Okay, this is the guy that we saved. No problems there. This lady here wants us to find her brother, who is a zombie. I'm going to have to hack his head off. That's no problem. Gonna go get those fat loot bonus or lore bonuses because they are still meaningful. Gonna sell all these sweet yellows for some biddies, which I need to well, essentially which I need to just yep, thanks and stuff. Okay, there's another level. That's sweet. More physique, thank you. And then we'll just pump this up 3 more levels, and then actually we're at 110. You know what that means? It's clobbering time, motherfuckers. All right, and if I could dual wield, I immediately would, but I can't. I think the earliest thing that I'm going to be able to do is actually a Bladesworn Talisman. And I believe off the top of my head, that's going to be level 25, so we can't do anything with that yet. And I don't think there's anything that I want to pull out of my shared yet. You can see this guy just dangling in front of me. I don't know, man. I'm so shit at hardcore that I don't want to touch that. I got my ass handed to me previously. This I can't use, I think, because, well, it's saying because level 20, but it also has that quest reward on it, so I'm not 100% sure that I can use that. We'll see. I don't really know. All right, but what I will do is I'll just start off right away by adding a little bit of tweaking to my weapons. I'm going to... I mean, I don't think that's useful. Let's see what we can do here. Oh, probably, yeah, probably this right here. Yeah, let's get ourselves a bit more fizz damage, and then I can actually excitingly put something on my toolbar here so I can hit things. All right, that's cool. And then we may as well just add in, we'll throw a bit more armor on our chest piece here. Get some resistance going on. Might do the same for the leggings. I'm gonna also get some fur going here as well. We'll do this for right now on my shitty little bag of salt. And then there's some extra health right there, some extra constitution. Okay, and then look at all those empty slots. I wonder actually, you know what? I should check and see. I'm gonna quickly tab out here and take a look at my item assistant because I might have some really low level stuff. I don't know for sure, but like probably not, but let me check. I'll just go to level 10. Yeah, I actually do. All right, well, since nobody's watching, I can take some time and see if there's anything useful in here. I have some level 5 greens I could throw in. Ooh. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you get in there. New helmet acquired. Gloves, let's see what we got. I do have that level 5 tier pretty much. Oh man, here we go. Yeah, we're getting some good stuff now. Boots. It's all about move speed. Scoping for move speed. Yeah, here we go. Man, it's 5%. Oh no, 7%. I can do 7%. I'm actually gonna do... Yeah, I'm going to take 6% move speed for the 25% reduced entrapment duration and 22 physique. Oh, wait, that's level 10. I'm an idiot. All right. But I still do have a 6% option for this level, so let's do that. That has a little bit of good resist on it. Okay, pants. People keep telling me I should wear them. I suppose I'll acquiesce to that. Let's see here. These are nice. These are nice. Yeah, let's grab the... Well, actually, both of these are nice, if I'm going to be honest. 20 cunning. 20 offensive ability. Yeah, these ones are better, though. Okay, there we go. I'm going to be a whole new necromancer when I'm done rooting through here. Oh, man. This is going to be great. 3 items that can proc Ring of Steel. It's going to handle that whole waiting game that I was going to do for getting to some AoEs. All right, let's see here. This is okay. Digging through rings right now. Off screen, can't see it. Fuck it. There's really no reason to be worrying too much about this because it's not like I'm going to be keeping these for very long. Oh, that one's actually got vitality damage on it. I suppose that's nice. Yeah, pet bonuses I don't need, which is always a little bit of a weird thing to say when you're playing a necromancer, but I refuse to do things that would easily work. Belts. Do you have a couple level 5 belts that are not too shabby? Yeah, this'll do. This'll do. See what else we got in here. Metal's going to come up empty because they're usually all higher level. Shoulders we can do. Let's see. We got a nice little selection of level 5s here. I can't remember what level am I in game. Level 7, so yeah, so I don't have to restrict this to level 5s. Alright, so let's grab... Oh yeah, I've got a pretty nice set of Isaacs in there, so let's grab those. Amulet. Okay, I have a couple 7s and a 5. This is okay, I guess. The rest are all higher level, so I'll just take that. But yeah, this will be a pretty good start. Okay, if I have a really exceptional one-handed weapon, I might take it. But usually I like the damage output of a two-handed weapon early on, just because you're not under a lot of threat, so you don't really need a shield or anything like that. Yeah, so I think we got to look at a weapon two-hand here. Oh, we got some good stuff in here. We got some fucking good weaponry. I like it. Plaguebearer's Scrap Metal Maul of Celerity. That gives me good feelings. Although this other one here, the Demonic Scrap Metal Maul of Ruin, seems pretty aggressive also, though it doesn't have... Oh, this other one grants Poison Nova. Yeah, let's nab that. All right, I think we're good here. I think we're good. Anything else? Yeah, relics, of course, are higher level, right? And we know what we need, because if we want to go dual wield, we're going to need that Blade Sworn pretty much right away. All right. Back at it. Drink of water. Okay, back up here. I've just rummaged the item assistant. Look at that. Options galore. What did I... Oh yeah, I sent these in there level 10. Back in the bin. Alright. Now, I've got this hat. Can't wear it. Okay, first things first. Time for a fire sale here. All this shit's getting sold, because we've got new stuff in every slot. So I can just sell absolutely everything to clear out my inventory and make this a little bit easier, because some of that stuff I need better physique, but it might be that I can sort of sequentially equip things and get that managed. So let's see here. Let's toss all this crap. We'll organize our stuff here. Oh, I will, buddy. I will. All right, and then let's see. All right, so we can equip that right away. Gloves we can do. Helmet we can't. Boots, good to go. Pants, too flimsy. Jacket. Required spirit 101. Well, that might have been a mistake, because I haven't really stacked any spirit. Although it might not take too much to get up to that. And I really want that, because it's got the Ring of Steel proc on it. And all that just means that I'd be throwing out a lot of AoEs, kind of automated. And early on, like if you're playing melee, getting some AoEs in your life early on is a pretty big deal. Okay, so that now we've got enough stats. We can throw the pants on, we can throw the helmet on, and we throw a chest piece on. There we go. Now I just have to wear these clothes endlessly, never take them off, so that I don't fuck up my ability to equip them. All right, so a couple of these, most of these items already have stuff on them. A couple of them don't. The gloves being one particular case of that. And probably at this level, I mean, we're still pretty low armor rating. We could just take some armor, but I think... Yeah, we could just take some armor, couldn't we? I mean, it'll help. Getting slapped around, it helps. We'll just balance. Armor and health. Let's go. Okay, we got almost 2,000 health. Does everything have something socketed now? It does. We've got Poison Nova and Poison Bomb. You know what? I'm never going to use poison bomb, so I'm just going to stick with this. I could change this out. Well, actually, no, I can't change it out because I don't have the chick that can do that for me yet. So can't do shit. I lied. Okay, and I know, but I'm not going to do that yet. I have something else in mind. All right, so after all that, I still have this little waypoint right here. Let's go and fuck with a poison dog. I'm feeling cocky now that I got, look at that. Yeah, that's right. I have procs now, motherfuckers. This character has suddenly become much more dangerous. So let's go see if we can immediately get killed by taking on one of these little mini bosses. Little side, come on, come out of the poison here. There we go. See, I've got a number of procs when I'm hit now. So that basically gives me a little bit of like retaliation. Not official retaliation, but it gives me, you know, like skill proc retaliation. You might wonder why I'm over here being all timid. I basically just want to clear out all these mobs before I take on the main boss. So if I can, I'm just going to kind of cruise around here and beat up on people. Because I'm in cooldown right now, actually, for potion as well, so... Oh, that's something I could have done, is transferred in a bunch of mending tonics, because I only have 3. So, okay. Alright, that's very reminiscent of... Yep, that's making me feel like a certain skull boss is on me now. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. This one, I'm going to be hovering that mending potion, because things could go crazy right away here. Alright, I'm gonna hit a mending potion. An abundance of caution. We've got him at 50%. We got 2 potions left. We're just about cooled down. We're taking a risk. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, we got this. We're gonna walk out of here with like no healing, but I'm kind of vaguely okay with that. Yeah, there we go. Everything's fine. Actually a blue drop as well. That's not too bad. I mean, we don't need that right now. Not until I make another pyromancer character. I'm kind of interested in basically doing essentially the, oh, what's it called? Conflagration, whatever it is. I think it's conflagration, the relic that gives you the beam, the fire beam kind of attack. It's basically like doing an ether ray character, only though with fire. Kind of a cool idea, you know, like if your main skill is coming off of an item base, it's sort of interesting. But I know there would be a little bit of math to figure out to be like, okay, how do I make this, whatever it is, level 35 relic, my level, you know, 100 attack skill base? And I'm not sure if that's really a thing. Although I will say there are... Oh no, you know what? I was gonna say there's sort of like later game items that scale both Ether Ray and that ability, but I don't think they do. I think they scale the Inquisitor ability that kind of does the same thing. You see what I'm talking about with this gear? This is why I'm wearing a caster chest piece. Because it has that proc on it for Ring of Steel. And if I just keep scaling up some physique, that Ring of Steel is going to do work for me. Okay, this guy's maybe not ideal to fight in an enclosed space, but as you can see, yeah, see that being why, right? Because he kind of gives you the little poison puke there. It's not that it's hard to avoid at all. I just, if I'm lazy, which I am, it's maybe tougher. But he doesn't put it out at a high enough rate to really cause problems, so no big deal there. All right, we're on our way now. This character's on its way. As soon as you get set up with something that'll pop AoEs, you're going, right? You can start to clear groups a little faster. Even if, like in this case, you know, I don't really have controlled AoEs. They're just, you know, random shit that happens occasionally. That's better than nothing in the early game. What is this giving me? Oh yeah, insight. What does that actually do again? That's coming off of, I can't remember which item. Let's check here. Insight, there we go. Gives me extra elemental damage. Well, that's pretty much fucking useless. That's fine though, whatever. Procs feel good. Even if they don't help. Early game cannon fodder. The Slith. As to why I'm bothering to like attempt to stream here, I'm just basically doing it because I wanted to level this character again, which I was doing a two-handed version of this, made level 37, I believe, or I might have just dinged 38. And I just was starting to feel like, not invincible, you know, like, I mean, I was having a potion and stuff. It's not like my health was just that perfectly balanced life drain kind of scenario. But I was like, I think I was like 27% life steal and stuff like that. Like I was definitely in pretty good shape. Still slow attack speed. I was using a spectral maul, which of course was doing all vitality damage, right? So the scaling was working perfectly with my siphon souls and everything like that. Like just in kind of a really good place. And then I ripped. And of course, because I was in a really good place, you know, I was feeling like I was progressing really well, and I was just starting to get into that face tanking mode where, for the most part, you know, the bosses were just, I just walk up to them and beat on them until they died, without really having to worry too much about taking damage because, you know, so tanky, so much life steal, all that jazz. And then it ended up just being a big pack of Blood Sworn. I was just like leveling through Blood Grove or something like that, which I know it's like super embarrassing to die that early, but I was just in that zone where I was like pretty much not really paying a lot of attention to, you know, when I would get surrounded and stuff, because I'm like, well, everything will just die, right? Like I'll just attack them a few times and everything will die and I'll be happy. And instead, they dropped a couple of those crystals that they drop on the ground that does like huge vitality damage attacks and stuff like that. And yeah, I just ended up getting DPS down. But I think one of the big problems with that is, even though I was able to really quickly develop a very high lifesteal, my attack rate was still pretty low. You know, I was going for attack speed. I was trying to get up to Kraken, but I wasn't there yet. I was still unlocking necessary stuff to like get up to Kraken and unlock that. So my two-handed attack speed wasn't very good. So even if you're draining a lot of health, but you have a relatively low attack speed, it gets kind of chunky. Like you can kind of end up in a situation where you're not keeping up with the incoming damage, and that's what happens. So that's why I figured that I'm going to swap over to doing dual wield on this character and basically just try to hit it up with a high attack rate, lots of life steal, all that shit. Because I was getting that feeling like, hey, you know, this single class necromancer melee could actually push some pretty serious distance into the game. Because my best attempt at hardcore so far, I think I got, maybe it was like level 76 or something like that. But I mean, it was like, I was getting up there, right? I was starting to actually think that I had a character that might be my first hardcore 100. And then I actually, that character was, it was almost like a Path of Exile rip in that, you know, I didn't even really get a good look at the critter that killed me. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to do the basement now. I don't think we have any other cash-ins or anything like that right now, but yeah, not seeing anything. Okay. So, yeah, you know what? That one, I don't need that. This one I do. I'm gonna go stow that. That's the one thing about hardcore. You gotta remember, like, constantly stow the shit that you're picking up, because at any time you could die and everything in your inventory is lost, right? So item assistant gets that. All right, I'm gonna go down and kill the Slith, but first I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Be right back, the nobody that's watching. All right, I'm back. It's kind of funny, like when you're sitting in a room streaming to absolutely nobody, and just talking endlessly. I remember I was watching a streamer, Dizzy Kitten, and she was kind of talking about like that starting out moment of having to do this and how weird it is. And like oddly enough, like for me, it's not that weird at all. Like I've actually found like I mean I have literally no reason to do YouTube or do streaming or do anything, right? Like I mean I have a day job, like I'm not trying to make a career of it. My actual strategy on YouTube was just like, oh, like I basically have like 500-600 games if you couple like GOG and Steam together and all that. Because I'm like, you know, I'm just in my 40s now, and like, so I'm from that era where games weren't just dime a dozen, right? Where you actually had to save up to get a game and shit like that. So you'd be reading like, you know, PC Strategy magazine and shit and looking at all the screenshots and stuff and knowing that like by and large all that stuff you were literally never going to have it, right? Like you were never going to get it, you know, all the way back to times when it'd be like sharing around like copied discs with friends in high school and stuff like that. So like that's kind of where I come from. So then the idea that I can just go and like buy like 5-10 games at a time in a sale and just have games, you know, maybe ones that I did want when I was younger and stuff like that. But again, like everybody else, never play that shit, right? So I'm like, okay, well, what if instead, like, I actually just start recording LPs? Nobody's gonna fucking watch them. But then I have like this kind of self-imposed like structure around it where, you know, I've kind of made the call that I'm gonna play through this game and I'm gonna do it in like half-hour time increments. Well, I usually record like say 2 or 3 at a time, so I'll do like an hour and a half. So it's just a thing like get through games, right? So then, but it's kind of weird, right? Because it's like, so I actually, you know, whatever, because I kind of wanted also just the idea of like fucking with the devices and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to, so I got myself like a Yeti mic and all that, so I get to play with the settings and everything. And again, like, you know, no followers, nobody watching, none of that. But I've found like, I'm like, oh, this is actually really fun. Like, this is pretty entertaining to just like sit here and babble on and shit like that. It's kind of entertaining. Oh, there you go. Look at that. 3% of attack damage converted to health. I mean, 6% attack speed. God damn it. Is this better than what I have? I don't know. That other one has Poison Nova. 30% chance when hit. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty meaningful. And that 6%. Wait. Motherfucker, that is better, isn't it? That is better. How much is that? Is that +3 to +4 to Reaping Strike? Yeah, that'll drive up my proc rate on Reaping Strike. And I mean, that 30% chance when hit is great, but I mean, I got procs like kind of all over me right now. Yeah, that mace is actually better. All right, well, I know that I'm kind of stacking physique a little bit, but I also just for items, but I also want to keep stacking cunning just for that bonus phys damage. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to rig this up again and I'm going to get slam back. So yeah, let's see. We do have more points here. There it is. Next level, necrotic edge. Okay, just out of curiosity. Yeah. It's called necrotic edge, but you can use it. You don't need a sword. Some stuff in this is kind of restricted, so just want to check and make sure that I'm actually getting something out of that. But yeah, so anyway, the whole streaming thing, it's like I was just going to sit down and, you know, remake a character. And now it's like this weird justification. It's like, well, if I'm actually like streaming, I'm doing stuff, right? Like if I'm on not on camera, but if I'm recording or like in any way producing something, then you know that feels like more less a waste of time or like more of a justification and all that. And then like when I'm playing Grim Dawn, it's like yeah, I don't know. I've got so many hours in this game and it's like kind of this game that I love to just play and relax, but it feels like I'm actually doing something if I'm streaming or recording it. I know I'm not. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not dumb. I understand that I'm doing shit all. And now that I got rares in every slot, I can drop rares and just wait for doubles. My loot filter is going to be pretty quiet for a little while here. But don't worry about it. We're going to be good. All right, so now we got slam. So we got like a nice big attack. You know, this can... So this has an energy cost, 22 energy cost. Yeah, I'm going to run over to dummy for a second. Let me take a quick check on this because I think... Okay, yeah. It was because I wasn't hitting anything. I'm like, wait a minute. Does this have no cooldown? Because I could just default weapon attack this. That is indeed not the case. That's fine. It is kind of useful though, just to add like a slight amount more DPS when you're flailing at a boss at low level, because that is kind of the thing, right? Like even though my character is all twinked out now, bosses and stuff are still fucking hassle. Just because you do so little, right? I'll admit that feels kind of good. Okay, there's the slam. That definitely does throw down a little bit more damage. That might have been a crit though. That was a big number. No, it does like over 800 damage. That's good. That's nice. It's like a couple of hits in a row, basically. That's going to come in handy. Oh, yeah. Fuck, I love it. It's very early on to actually have some rings of steel popping and stuff like that. Item assistant. It is the thing. Keep your gear. I just started playing hardcore like a little while ago, and I don't know why it is now. I haven't touched any of my softcore characters, like because I've got like a little swack of level 100s, and I haven't touched any of them since I started doing hardcore. I've engaged with it so much more since I started having permadeath turned on. We could go up there and rummage through that, but I don't really care. This is the thing, you can dodge so much stuff at this early level because ultimately when you're leveling a character, if you start in veteran, you just want to get through it, right? You just want the levels, you just want to pound through the content, finish the game, unlock elite. Because ultimately if you do everything at veteran, you're going to outlevel the content really fast and start to hit some XP scaling. So you're kind of better off just slapping your way through stuff and avoiding all the side areas and stuff like that. You don't really do any dungeons or anything like that, so... There we go. Yeah, this feels good. This feels good. We're going to make some pretty rapid progress with the leveling here. Slith really are the goblins of Grimdawn. Kobolds even. They're just like, it doesn't really matter what build you have. Like, I'm guessing that for the most part, your base Slith just have like 0% resists across the board. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a fire, like if you're a tenuous fire build, a bloody pox build. Like, it doesn't really matter what you're starting out with. They just get owned by you. And they basically have no annoying unit types. Like, you know, when you get up to the Grobles, who I guess are technically the equivalent of like goblins or so in this, you get up to those and they have like the healing units and stuff like that. Slith have nothing like that. They're just little, I was going to say bags, but technically they're tubes. They're tubes of XP. You just roll around and squeeze them out. Okay, I'm going to clear the area here, and then we are going to try that totem. I'm feeling relatively twinked, so I'm gonna go and expose myself to that monster totem. Nice tonic of mending. Foreshadowing. That's what we call that. All right, I'll give myself an additional layer, level of cunning. See, this is normally where I would go and select another class, but sticking with Necro. There we go. Actually, I'd noticed that like a number of people they're saying like, you know, good start out classes is like single class soldier and shit like that. You know, which I can certainly see how that could be good as well. You know, powerful, easy to play class. Just checking. I sometimes forget to use my points. But actually, the thing that inspired me to check into adjusting the whole double class thing was actually watching, or not watching, but just seeing a post on Reddit from this guy who had done a no class. And so he was like level 100, like I think he was like SR 75, and was doing that without ever selecting a class. And I thought that was such a cool idea, right? So he was basically doing like what I'm doing right now is I'm getting most of my especially my AoE offensive capability is coming directly out of the gear that I'm wearing, right? Like I've got like nothing basically on my skill bar, and yet I'm still able to pop all these AoEs and stuff like that. And it's like, well, that's only because they're skills that are granted by my gear, right? And so he was doing that, but with a minion build. So all of his minions were granted by gear. He had no class skills, no abilities like that at all, which I thought was just fucking crazy that he was level 100 and basically doing better in Shattered Realms than I ever do, even with classes. So kind of made me think I should get outside the box a little bit and start playing with character builds a little bit. Because I don't get too... That's pretty good. I don't get too crazy on it's not like my Path of Exile days, you know, with like Path of Building and stuff like that, where I'd really try to poke around and come up with something interesting to do for a build. This, not as much, I wouldn't say, although I guess I do some of that maybe sometimes. But it tends to be more organic, right? Because in this game, it's so easy to respec that you can kind of just feel it out, and sometimes you'll get a gear drop that'll kind of change your approach a little bit. But you don't have to pre-plan as much in this. But I kind of figured like I should start doing, you know, even if I'm gonna still just kind of be organically the mid-fight level up. I like it. It's gonna try some new stuff, and the first thing is necromancer. Necromancer is very close to my heart, but usually in a minion format. But I sort of figured like to do like a pure necro melee build would be kind of interesting. And then right away, I realized how fucking insanely viable it is too. Now, see, I'm in this scenario now. I mean, that's technically not bad for one-handed weapons. Yeah. We'll see. I'll probably stay two-handed for a while. Like, this is actually really good. That's really good for me at this level. So I'm probably going to stick with that for a bit. You know, just because look at this, we're like 9 of 10, and I think we only have like 6 ranks in there or something like that. But we're going to keep pressing forward now, pushing towards Siphon Souls. Oh, actually, yeah, this is actually a really good ability as well because of that confused target. This is kind of what I would say is sort of integral to this build because this really fucks with your opponents, cuts down the number of concerted attacks that are going to come in on me. I'm going to get that on my bar right now. So we'll pop Illoman on there. And then we'll start going for Siphon Souls because again, this is crucial, right? So we'll grab Siphon Souls and then we'll start making a charge. That's one of the things about this build that's maybe a little bit different. Is that you kind of do want to race up here right away because if you look at those abilities, that 3% attack speed, that's fucking really good. 3% of attack damage converted to health. Like this scales your whole build really fast. And this is why using those spectral weapons is kind of a cool idea as well, because as you can see, it scales your vitality damage. And those weapons, even though they're melee weapons, they're going to like completely just inflict vitality damage. So it does everything. Like that's just straight across the board scaling for your character, which is fucking sweet. It's exactly the type of thing you want because you get so much bang for your buck, right? Okay, now I'm just wasting time because I have no reason to kill these people. I've got everything I need out of here. This has been a fantastic little run through this guy's basement because we got that monster totem that like pretty much gave us a level and a bunch of loot. So I'll take it. All right, everybody. Water's clean. You're welcome. Give me more XP. Man, I'm just starting to feel that little bit of hunger right now. I do a lot of intermittent fasting because basically like, well, I might have like kind of a physical job. My entire like outside of work is just sitting around basically playing video games. So I kind of have to do that just to not continuously expand outwards. Can I stow that? Yeah, I can. Okay, there we go. Wait a minute. Did that ring have +3 to necrotic edge? It's pretty fucking good, isn't it? In fact, it would be probably... I could drop that one, technically. Okay, tabbing out for a second. Hang on. I'll find that thing again. All right, item assistant. Oh, man, I minimized it. Noob. All right, let's see. Rings. Okay, let's track that thing down. Yeah, it does, man. It does. Okay, but on the other hand, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I don't think that would be any better. Because the rest of it is acid damage and shit. Like, I suppose if I was using that other mace, then there would be something applicable on it, but there just isn't. Like, the ring that I have on, that +3 necrotic edge would be pretty fucking spectacular, but the ring that I have on is probably better, so we're not going to do that. All right, we'll stick with this. I mean, honestly, like, why am I even overthinking this shit at this level? Like, just fucking make progress. That's all I need to be doing. I don't need to be fucking with this. Wait. Hang on. Oh, he doesn't have the quest for me yet. Did I go all the way in? Did I talk to him? Did I get the quest? I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Secure the portal in the village. Yeah, okay, that's my next thing. All right, let's go. All right, I'm gonna skip loads of shit on the side here. I might do a couple little loops through this territory just to try to not miss everything, but ultimately I just kind of want to make progress right now. This game rewards the hell out of exploration, but my impatience is kind of driving me to just keep progressing forward instead of poking around extensively. The big thing is early on is like actually getting the shrines. You kind of sometimes do have to wander around a little bit because cave locations can shift and stuff. Alright, there we go. I still at some point, I've got to start doing a specific loot tab or loot list for all retaliation damage build. I want to do that at some point. I saw actually Ziggy D when he was taking a break from Path of Exile a couple years ago. He switched over to Grim Dawn, and he was playing an all retaliation build, and it was like painful to get it going. But I think it's one of those things that like you could transition into it a little bit later in the game, and just, you know, because once again, like a couple of potions that aren't that hard to get and you can completely respec your character ground up. It's just not expensive to respec, which means that you can kind of just do whatever you want, or like pick something, excuse me, pick something really optimal to level with and then switch over. It's one of the things I think is so well balanced in Grim Dawn is because I'm kind of one of those people who doesn't want a game to make things too easy on me, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be like Path of Exile where, and don't get me wrong, I had like 4,000 hours or something in Path of Exile, probably like closer to 6,000 because I was in before it went on Steam. Like I bought in like the earliest beta when it was like, I think all you could do was like up to Mervale. She was like the end boss of the game. Anyway, though, like that one sort of makes it pretty, you know, pretty punishing. Like if you've chosen like certain skill, like a certain build to level with, they make it relatively punishing in a real big planning session to figure out how you can respec out of it. Whereas with this, it's kind of not, but it's also not nothing. Right? It's not like sort of Diablo, where I think Diablo 3 anyway, and I'm gonna probably get this wrong because I played through the story of that game once and I'm like, okay, I've had my fill of this, I'm bored of it. But they made it so you just socketed and unsocketed skills like willy-nilly. There was no, like, you did have builds, but it was like so random that, you know, if you could just experiment, anything you picked up, you could just immediately throw it on, change your build entirely, that kind of stuff. That's what I remember anyway, and I could be remembering it wrong. But I don't like that either. I like this middle ground that this game has, where it's like, you can kind of do that, but at the same time, like, you kind of need items to do that. So it doesn't make it free. It makes it something that you actually have to spend a little bit of time. You have to do it. But it's not hard either. It's not made crazy, right? So, I don't know. I dig that personally. Man, I forgot to check. Okay, I'm about to get chewed on, so I'll check my skills in a second here. But I forgot to check what my Siphon Souls is sitting at now. I think... Where am I at? Or Reaping Strike, I should say. Yeah, 25% chance to be used. That ain't bad. We're getting there. We're getting there. Starting to become like what I would consider to be a relatively good life return option. Oh, no monsters over here? Oh, no, they're there. One fucking doggo and 2 corpses to root through the pockets of. That was not worth my time. I like how I have my own stream up on the other window too, just so that like I am talking to someone, even though it's me. The sadness is quite real. Oh, standing in the bed. Oh, I like that. That's one of the things I do miss. I say I miss because I don't really play Path of Exile anymore. It just kind of went in directions I'm not a huge fan of. Feels like everybody's not a huge fan of it right now. There's just a lot of fucking drama to follow going on around that game. Which, you know, it's not one of those things where I'm happy that people aren't liking it, because just because I fell out of love with it doesn't mean that I don't want other people to have a good time with it. But yeah, it was one of the things I loved about it. It's something that they just did so well, you know, like when you would be playing a like a character that was like freezing and shattering enemies and stuff like that. Just that feeling of like blasting through the map, and like the sound, like they so viscerally caught that of just, you know, like a cadre of enemies just shattering with that like bursty pop sound and stuff like that. Really, really good. I'm actually picking up a tiny vibe of that with, you know, when my blade storm just bursts out and like fucks a bunch of people up. I like it. This game does have a lot less of that though. Like it doesn't have that crispy sound design. Sound design is not bad. It's just softer feeling, right? It's one of those things where this game could use a sound pack mod. You know, it's like my modded out Skyrim that I play. You know, I have like the Dark Souls sound pack and like a couple other things just to kind of sharpen it up and give it a more customized soundscape. And this game could certainly benefit from that. I'm just checking down here instead of moving forward, just because sometimes there can be, and there isn't, but there can be a monster totem that spawns right here. I would have seen it probably on the mini map already, so. I don't remember, although is that where the Slith necklace dude is? Yeah, I think so. I should pop up there real quick. Because I might have, like, let's see, I've only got 2, so I'm going to need to grab, I think, 1 more, but that is okay. Because I'm gonna do big brain strats right now. Leave myself a port. And then go murder more Slith. There's always good times. You fucker, I'm drinking. Yeah, my little rings of steel here, they're already kind of getting a little bit outclassed by the enemy's health bars now. It's kind of too bad. But whatever, I mean, it's still my time to kill on groups is way less than it would be if I didn't have all those procs. So it's always going to be worth your time pulling in procs like that early game. Late game, maybe not so much, right? Because like procs that you're not scaling, for example, it's like, it's not really worth your time having them. Because unlike sort of, you know, like a lot of times with builds, for example, with pet builds, right? You'll end up having like 1 rank in Bloody Pox and like 1 rank in say like Grasping Vines or something like that if you're playing like a Conjurer build or something. And the reason being because you need to socket your you know, devotion tree skills onto stuff. And so you just want things that tick, like, right, like Bloody Pox is excellent for that because it ticks so much. And there's a number of abilities like that, right? Like you know, the little ground anus, the whatever it is, like Ravenous Earth, like stuff like that that just is gonna like tick attacks over and like hit multiple people. It just rolls the chance on attack so often, right? Oh, I'm forgetting to use, man. Now I'm glad I'm the only person watching me because I always forget to like use my skills and shit like that. So you know, embarrassing. So this is Milton. I don't know if his sister really wants him to come home, I'm being honest. There we go. Get his helmet. That's actually good. I mean, if I was doing sort of that soldier start, that would actually be a pretty good thing to grab. All right, so we can get her necklace. We don't actually need it now. That is one of those early game items, though, where it's like it actually works pretty well. Getting that, whatever it is, called like Sister's Love or something like that. Sister's Mercy. I don't even remember, but like it's an early amulet that you get as a quest reward that actually has good health and good healing on it. Fortunately, we don't need it because we already kind of picked up something out of the item assistant. But yeah, if you don't have that, it's worth your time. Isn't there usually... Yeah, there's this guy here who usually has a thing. He has this. Different versions of it, right? Because you're just rolling a rare there. So that is a good version of it. You can get that actually... I think you can just get a yellow bone off of him as well. But that's a particularly good one. Okay, here we got one of these randomly spawning caves, which we're going to want to hit up. It's the bandit cave. We're going to rescue ourselves some gypsies. Rovers, I should say. Same thing. And these guys are... I don't know. I don't actually use, I mean, a ton of their... See, we're going to add... I think we're going to add Rover faction to our factions tab right here. Jasper. I've slaughtered the bandits. Well, most of them. You're free to go. So yeah, so this is where we add these guys, right? So we get a quick 250 faction rep with them. Realistically, the reason that you want to level up all the factions, all the friendly factions, essentially that's one of the things that is nice is that you don't really need to like do grinding on them to get the basics. And by the basics, I mean the recipes that you need from them. Because if you're on a new account, obviously I'm not, right? So I've got like a lot of recipes unlocked already, but if you need recipes and stuff on like on a new account, you will generally get them without actually having to grind rep. It just sort of happens. And then grinding rep is sort of something you'll do for the few factions that actually have really good high tier rewards. Because realistically, you know, a lot of them don't have good high tier stuff. You know, it's not like it's just bad, but it's, I don't know, maybe it's just for the types of builds that I do. There's nothing that really is worth my time. There might be something I'm missing down here too. Hang on. I remember that part like moments ago when I said that I wasn't going to do a lot of exploration because I'm a veteran. I've vaguely lied just because I always forget where everything is, so I end up thinking I'm forgetting stuff. Like, I feel like I'm forgetting a little prison area that has, like, some drops that are worth. And at this point, when I say worth, I mean, I'm just... Oh, there we go, see? Got it. Now, I know you're all, and by you're all, me, because I'm the only person watching my own stream, waiting for me to open a portal to my portal. I'm not going to do that. I'm not that much of an idiot. I'm actually going to go over here and use this other portal to jump back over. All right. So now we could pop over, cash that in. That's going to ding us another level as we continue the climb to Siphon Souls. It didn't freaking level me. Inconceivable. I'm straight up going to continue using that word even if I don't know what it means. You know what? I'm pretty sure that there might be that drop is like over here, but I don't think... Oh, I can't be sure that I don't have that one quest over here that I want to do. I want to get like all the kill quests, right? Because they're just easy drops and easy XP. So I want to kill all of the named guys that dude asked you to track down. all the zombie Flanders, basically. Everybody he knew before the Grim Dawn and just wants me to go smash them down now that they're undead. Probably all worked with somebody like that, where you're just like, man, if that person ever becomes a zombie, that's the first person I'm taking out with a chainsaw. First zombie, I should say. All right, there we go. Another level. I'm going to dump a tiny bit into Spirit because, you know, at a certain point, we are going to be using a little bit of energy and stuff like that. So we'll want to have a minimal amount of ranks in that. Oh, we're getting there. 2 more levels and we'll have some... this is like Siphon Souls. It sort of alternates between being like a little bit of extra health when you're surrounded, but it also can do quite a bit of damage. So for little numpty mobs, it's actually kind of also a group clear. Or we're just going to gather people up here because, you know, we want that to hit lots of folks. And the way that it does that is I get beat on a lot, right? Because it's proccing on me being hit. So I want to get punched in the face a shit ton and then have it proc a shit ton and kill things quickly and efficiently. Yeah, so this is the drop that I was talking about. It's a bit of a weird one because it would give me an additional ring of steel, but it's ranged, right? So it's like 30% chance when hit, but it's on a ranged weapon. I don't know. Feels weird. It's a weird proc. I think I'd rather have like a... Like imagine that weapon, like his crossbow, but doing like blade burst instead. Like to me, that's genuine good stuff, right? Like blade burst, 30% chance on attack. That's a really good crossbow for early game. Like a really good crossbow for early game. It's one of those things like, I wonder actually now that sorry, distracted momentarily by something. Now that Crate's moved on to like really starting to push Furthest Frontier out, which again, I'm super excited for that as well. That might be another thing I stream to nobody. But yeah, now that they're pushing that out, I sort of wonder, like, are we going to see them basically just call it off in terms of, you know, updating this game? Because this game's old, but they just keep like doing massive balance patches and adding items and stuff like that. Oh, hello. Look at what we got out back there. Punch that guy in the fucking snout. Okay, we got totem time. Time to risk death once again. Test our twinkiness. Okay, gather around, motherfuckers. Gather around. Ah, see, that feels good. That sounds good. I like that. I like everything about that. That's the thing, right? Because I think I have like, what, 2 or 3 of them stacked? Probably just 2 now, because I did give up one of them. But yeah, when they all pop at once, shit gets real. Okay. All right, so we're gonna use our abilities here. Because you can see like even though it's only a couple of ranks, all right, I'm not gonna stand in that. Even though it's only a couple of ranks, you can already see enemies wandering around and like even attacking like the air, attacking each other. That's what Illomen does, right? Like the big thing about it, so it does do damage over time, which is nice, right? But like if you look at it, it does a bit of vitality decay over time. But the minus move speed is actually really good as well. The damage reduction, everything is good. Everything is good. But the big thing is like, well, okay, the 2 massive things. Number 1, confuse target for 2 seconds. So the confused targets, like they might not attack you. They might run away from you. Like they might have a fear effect on them. They might randomly attack another enemy. They might also attack the air. You see people just swinging at nothing. But here's the other fucking insane thing. This has the same spreading mechanic as Bloody Pox, right? I never realized that. That's why I didn't figure this as a top tier ability until at some point I actually read the fucking tooltip. You unleash a ghostly wail on your target that shatters confidence of lesser foes and rapidly spreads confusion and fear amongst your enemies. So that 2-meter target area, that you're like, that's nothing. It's one enemy. It's not one enemy. That shit can spread all the way off screen. It's an absolutely god tier ability for necromancers. Absolutely god tier. I have like another hardcore character that I'm, trying to put together. I probably did the switch too early. Like I probably would want to level like, like this. But that one I'm actually doing, and what's it called? I think it's called like a Kabbalist or something like that. But it's a necromancer occultist build. And basically just combining that ill omen with bloody pox. But I'm struggling really heavily for that single target damage, which is always a problem with bloody pox, like early doors. Bloody pox kind of fakes you out. Like when you're at this stage of the game and you just max out that first tier of bloody pox, it feels amazing, right? Because like basically everything on the screen and off the screen dies. Like you'll end up running into areas where just you've killed everything before you even got there, but it fakes you out. Because then you're facing like elites and stuff like that, and you just don't have the damage to kill them. And you suddenly realize what its huge flaw is, right? Like it's low damage, widespread. But I think that like high end, like if you really have things scaled well and you combine that with Ill Omen, that's probably pretty fucking strong. And I mean, here's the other thing. Like 90% of Grim Dawn players probably already know that, but it just took me forever to realize. I'm going to use my ability. I was scratching my knee there, so I was just mouse hand only for a little while. Okay, there we go. I think we're wrapping up a lot of the side quests here, which is good. We'll probably want to... We have another port up ahead that we're going to secure. And then I'll probably jump back to town real quick. Check for quest turn-ins and stuff. We'll probably ding again. We're very close now. We won't be able to do it on just the enemies that are around here, I don't think. Unless I really keep wandering instead of going back, which seems like I've already opted to do. It's the old first encounter with the Bloodsworn. Bloodsworn are actually one of my least favorite. Not least favorite in terms of like playing against it, but like sort of lore wise, my least favorite. I don't like them. Because the ethereals, right? Like if you're just talking atrocities in Grim Dawn, it's like the ethereals are kind of way up there, especially if you do the Ashes of Malmoth content. You see what it's called, the flesh works. Ugh. Some things are better left unseen. That's all I can say. But they have the excuse of being aliens, right? Like they are not human. They are this alien intelligence, this alien entities. They have nothing to do with us beyond using our bodies and our flesh as their tools of terraforming, basically. Whereas the Bloodsworn are just atrocity-riddled assholes in this game, but they're people, right? Like they're cultists. People like you and me gone bad. They don't look like much at this point, right? You know, you got like, okay, they're sacrificing people here. We get to talk to Isaac. He tells me about his stash where we can get his shoulders. Well, we're already styling those like crazy. But you know, here you're like, okay, so they're kind of dicks, right? Just wait. Just wait till you get to Darkvale Village. See how much dicks these guys really are. They're actually, you don't really notice now, because if you buy the game now, you'd be insane to not buy the base game plus Forgotten Gods and Ashes of Malmoth, because you can get the whole thing for like way less than the cost of a premium game, and you just get this incredible gaming experience, right? There's so much fucking awesome content there. But it's sort of at this point, you're like, well, okay, the blood cultists of Cthon are not... They're not really a big faction, you know, they're just in the early game. Well, yeah, remember, the early game used to be the game. So they used to be the big bad faction of Grim Dawn. Doesn't really matter now, but you know, a little bit of earlier game lore. Grim Dawn is actually a title that, you know, like Path of Exile. I remember seeing like it probably the same story for a lot of old timers in Path of Exile. Is I was like playing other sort of similar like other ARPGs, and then I remember seeing a YouTube video in which they like I was watching. I'm like, yeah, it looks okay. It looks kind of janky. The movement's not that good. The animation's not that good. And then the dude opened the skill tree, just like tapped the tab open. And I was like, and my gaming future has been decided. I must have this game immediately. All right, I'll go kill some other people for you as well, buddy. Yeah, and then I was in, right? Like the moment I saw the complexity of the skill tree. But then this game, it was another one. I saw it early on, but it was just one of those things where, like I didn't really look at it. It was like a Kickstarter or something like that. And it just didn't really, I don't know, like cross my desk in a serious way. And so I came at this game. Yeah, like I think I just got it in a Steam sale or something like that. And then I think I picked it up bundled with the expansions. And then I went a while without even playing it, as you do with Steam sale stuff. Yeah, and then man, I like the moment that I really got into it, you know, and I opened up, like I realized how much there was in here and like just how insane this is and like how much optimization and yeah, I came to realize that this game was going to occupy a significant chunk of my time going forward. And here we are. Me streaming to nobody, playing Grim Dawn years later. I gotta see, I could probably be listening to tunes here. It's just the whole YouTube thing, you know, like I know that it saves your streams as watchables. So I'm assuming that if I was just playing music in the background, then that would all just be like, would that give me a copyright strike? Let's just say I'm not a veteran YouTuber. I don't know these things. So would that give me a copyright strike, or would it just demonetize it, or would they mute it? Like, I have no idea how they treat that. I gotta do some quick Googling on that and figure out how streams work on YouTube. Because I know on Twitch, like, they just mute it, right? Like, if you were playing music that wasn't sort of, I don't know, like Twitch friendly or whatever. Because I would just be like playing something like, you know, probably like a YouTube playlist kind of thing. And I don't even know how that works, right? Like, so people who put out, you know, like mixes and whatnot on YouTube, are they able to do that because they've acquired the rights? Is that music rights free? I can't imagine. I mean, it'd be like, you know, like bands and shit like that. I have no idea how anything works. YouTube is a mystery to me. A complete fucking mystery. Got to stay hydrated here. Yeah, I just I got a little bit of a scratchy throat, which, you know, can happen, right? But obviously I just took like a antigen test this afternoon when I got home from work, because I'm like, man, if I've got COVID, that is some fucking rough timing, because just yesterday after work, we had like some, you know, sort of a long-time employee who was taken off, and so we had sort of a, wasn't like my full work, but it was just sort of, you know, about 30 of us or so met up and like sort of the company had rented out a restaurant, you know, so we were all kind of like packed into this pretty small restaurant, just like, you know, tapping off free drinks and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, if I get symptoms and test positive today, I can guarantee that I had it when I went into that little intimate gathering of 30 odd people from my job. Like, my potential to cripple our company's operations in that particular point, it's like, chances are strong. But fortunately, things are negative. So I'll test again tomorrow morning and let's make sure they stay that way. I'm having good luck with monster totem spawns here. They're just such excellent XP and item income early on in the game. I just want to clear a little bit around, because sometimes if you have to like flee suddenly, it pays off to have cleared the local area, because normally if you flee, it's because your potions are in cooldown. And yeah, I realize I'm not cycling abilities just because mainly they don't do much at this point, but gonna be cycling them now. Because these guys are going to be kind of dickheads, I think. Yeah, see? We're going to pull back a little bit. So we're standing in ground effects and stuff like that. So it's not like I feel like this is super threatening, but it's just if the damage that I'm taking from opponents is coupled with ground effects, that could get bad. Like that, for example. I just don't want to stand there. Oh, slowed. Slowed is also kind of bad news. Okay, there we go. Never a doubt in my mind. Straightforward. Yeah, see what I mean? It's like good like early game item drops. Those are tough. Like, it's really just so convenient for me because I'm actually kind of twinked a little bit. Like just pulling in all those early game items, those early leveling items. You know why my health is taking a little jaunt? Some of those doggos, the ones that have kind of that little vitality sort of coloring to them, like the little sort of pinky red color, they got life drain going on, so they can actually be a bit of a hassle. Quite a bit of damage, and they can stay up longer than you expect because they're draining your health. I mean, life drain is just inherently bad, right? Because you're losing it, they're gaining it, so... Okay, we're actually getting attrited pretty fast there, so I don't want to sit in that one. I'm dispersing the crowd a little bit there. You can see my rather undeveloped Illo men doing some work, distracting them and whatnot. Okay, this Primordian has a little bit of health going on here, and I keep forgetting to dodge those ground effects. I'm just gonna play it safe, stay potioned. Early game bossing, not too hard really. The first one that actually is gonna, you know, offer to kill you on a regular basis if you're not careful is probably Warden Krieg, really. I mean, that being outside of some monster totem encounters that can obviously be a bit of a bastard. Because, like, I'm enjoying this, like, stack of greens that I got on right now, but honestly, they're level 5s. They're going to be out soon. Like, I'm already level 14. Like, I think when I ding 15, it's probably going to be time to troll the item assistant again. So in the next couple of minutes here, it's going to be time to jump back in there and just check it out. Mainly because, you know, my stuff is just the damage numbers I'm putting out and stuff are too low, which is really too bad because this thing is so good for my build. Like that +4 to Reaping Strike is just so good. So good early on. So when I inevitably rip this character, I'll have the perfect twink gear to start the replacement out. I think, well, I've got like the LP going on with the Storm Totem Shaman. When which is currently my highest level hardcore character. But I think if I rip this character, I'll probably switch back to playing a ritualist again. Just because that's such a strong build. You know, like an easy and survivable build. And so it could be that I just need to focus on something like that to get me through to that first level 100. And again, no particular reason. I just want to do it. I just want to have a level 100 hardcore. I don't even know if there's an achievement for it. There might be. Suppose I could check, right? Check and see if I got the level 100 achievement for softcore. It seems like, interestingly though, like a lot of the achievements in this, they don't seem to differentiate hardcore mode. They just kind of treat it like the same. Like if you've already reached level 100, they're just like, you've reached 100, and they don't differentiate between hardcore. I'm like, you fucking should, because man, some of my characters that I got to high level, they've got a lot of deaths on there. You know, like it died like 20, 30 times or whatever just to get to level 100. And even when I play softcore, like I get annoyed by dying. Like sometimes characters that just get real frail, instead of fixing them, I just fucking switch to something else out of frustration instead of like just getting my res up and stuff like that. I'm weird that way. Probably means I was meant to play hardcore basically. All right. Kind of a big level, not gonna lie. Siphon Souls, baby. And that goes down here because that numpad, yeah, interestingly, if anyone were watching this, you'd be looking down at my my toolbar there and being like, why the fuck does he have those keys bound? Mainly because when I was a young lad, I was 19, I had a little incident at my work where a bunch of my hand got chopped off, my left hand. So now I'm kind of in this scenario where, see there, that's going to get real good down the road, like real good. So yeah, so I ended up basically, I have my little finger on that hand because they reattached it, but it's just kind of a little hook finger. Like it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't have a lot of mobility. So I can't really use it. Like if you're playing WASD, you know, you get stuff on shift and control. Can't do it. Can't move my finger enough to do it. So I kind of ended up with a scenario where instead of WASD, like my backup is on my thumb, sort of on the delete key and stuff like that. So when I'm not playing WASD, I use a really similar setup. So I use my numpad for playing games like this. Because it lets me easily access more buttons, right? Because if I'm over on the other side, well, because like my my middle finger on my left hand, I have no third knuckle. Like I have the tip of my finger, but it's fused. So it's just my hands just aren't dexterous, or my left hand's not dexterous, right? So the numpad lets me lay it out a lot easier and just hit the keys easier. Anyway. Big explanation of why I use like a weird key binding setup. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. I'm kind of wondering about this whole streaming on YouTube thing, because I went in OBS and it has like a really limited interface, which obviously, you know, makes it super easy for me to like link my account and all that, and then I can just like click OK, stream to YouTube, and boom, I'm live. But I noticed like in the YouTube interface, like if I go there to start the stream, I can add like, you know, I can tag the game and everything like that, which would probably make it searchable. Like it's even possible that someone might accidentally see me. But yeah, the way it is, I don't really have anything going on, right? Like, I don't have any of those options. All I can do is title my stream, which presumably, you know, I can put Grim Dawn in there, but I don't think anyone would ever see it. But I can't like do the, you know, I can't like add Grim Dawn as like a game category or anything like that. So I might actually try, I might try the opposite, like setting up a different stream. I mean, I really should just do Twitch, obviously, if I want people to see it. And I'm not like adverse to it, right? Like, I have this whole thing like YouTube and stuff like that where I have no intention of like trying to figure out how to like, oh, how do I make my content monetizable and all that. I honestly, I have no illusion about that. Like, I'm doing like sequential Let's Plays, like something that basically nobody really watches, right? Like, you have some Let's Players that kind of can make a living, but they're usually people who were around before now. Like, they're sort of legacy Let's Players. I don't even know how you would go about launching a Let's Play channel that was going to make money. And like I say, for me, it's entirely a hobby anyway. So I just don't care. Like, that's not the point. But by the same token, like, I follow this other streamer and Let's Player, Ghost LPs, and he's got like a small channel. You know, he's got a few thousand followers, gets a moderate amount of views on his videos and stuff like that. And I've just watched like all of his Let's Plays. I just happen to like his presentation, stuff like that. And I like the games that he's playing and stuff. Like, it's just kind of that, it's like, oh yeah, I like this dude, right? Like, the way he plays, like the way he talks about games, stuff like that. It's kind of the way that I think about games a lot of the time. So it's like just very relatable content. And he streams as well. And it's like, you know, like, basically I'll try to catch his streams when I can, and he'll be like streaming to like 20, you know, 16, 20 people, something like that. And he's been going at it for years, right? So it's like one of those things where like it's not his job. He just kind of does it as a hobby. And I can totally see the appeal of that. Because you just have that same group of people that show up, sit there and like talk about D&D and, you know, shoot the shit for a while. Like, that's the right kind of thing to me. Like, there's a lot of other streams that I've kind of watched, you know, and nothing against other streams, right? Like, streams like, I think the first streamer that I ever actually started watching, I remember when I was into like finding out what was, what PUBG was all about and like whether it was something I wanted to get into. And I kind of looked a bit on YouTube and people were like talking about it, but I realized the best way to check that game out was to go and just watch people Twitch stream it. And of course I looked it up on YouTube. And I got like a search return for Dizzy Kitten, which of course, like, you know, I mean, realistically, she's one of those weird genetic storms where it's like the first thing you see in like the little video preview window is just this incredibly hot blonde chick, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go take a guilty look at this gorgeous chick and then like go find a real channel for gaming. Except that it turned out that she was actually super good at the game and had like a really charismatic and good group of friends that she played with. You know, so I think she won like the second match, like they winner chicken dinner on like the second match they played. So that was the first, like, that was like my first contact with like actually watching streamers for entertainment. But the problem is like, and I don't know, I guess it's not really a problem, but like a problem for me is that like, I just ignore the chat. Like, I just don't participate because it's just, you know, she'd have like 2,000 viewers. The chat's just rolling by so fast. You can't really read anything. You can't engage one-on-one. Like, it's so hard to have a conversation with another person in chat, for example. And that's where I get like a real appreciation for the good side of having like a community of 20 people that show up to your streams. It's like, you know, it's more like a small guild used to be when you're playing online or something like that, where it's like, yeah, we just hang out and chat. And like, it tends to be that people are not necessarily like-minded. Like, you're not just sitting there just nodding and agreeing with each other and like circle jerking. It's more like you can actually have debates and stuff like that with a small enough group that people aren't immediately getting butthurt and freaking out and stuff like that. Anyway, I wouldn't hate it if that were to happen at some point, but it's not going to happen. Like, I don't think that can happen on YouTube. I don't really know if anyone is watching streams on YouTube. I know I'm not. So Well, I mean, I am right now because I'm monitoring my own stream, but you know what I mean. I do know what I mean because I'm the only fucking person watching this. God, it's all coming together now. Get quarried, motherfucker. All right, we are very close to getting crafting, which is going to be nice.
Oh, hello, traveler.
All right, I'll find you, dude. All right, well, I think I am actually going to fire up the aircon for a few minutes here, just cool the room down again. And then I'm probably gonna just, since this is night one of fucking with streaming, I might see if my Twitch account would actually allow me to do that. So that's gonna be it for now.